welcome to the Drum Club podcast, powered by Collision Drumsticks, the #1 drumming podcast, giving you an access all areas pass to conversations on topics that range from drumming, mindset, entrepreneurship, the business of music, and of course, so much more. Each week, we're going to bring you exciting discussions featuring both independent and signed artists, as well as speakers, touring and award-winning musicians, and industry experts. Be sure to hit the like button below and the subscribe button to keep up to date with new videos, announcements, and exclusive Drum Club content. And don't forget to let us know your thoughts below about today's conversation. This week on the Drum Club podcast, we are joined by none other than drummer and Collision endorsee Cameron Watson, aka Pupstar. Based in Telford, UK, Cameron studied at the renowned Chetham School of Music in Manchester before gaining a first-class honours degree at university. Having completed education, it is Cameron's passion to consistently practice and improve his skills at an extremely high level in regards to physical technique, rhythmic, and musical theory. Consistently posting a variety of videos, playing things like pop, hip-hop, electronic dance, prog, of all various time signatures, something we're going to get into, for the purpose of entertainment, whilst documenting his progress for others to see. Cameron's goal is to inspire other people to work hard and actually take the path of most resistance so they reach the highest level of their music expression. Cameron is a proud Collision artist, as I mentioned, and can be found across social media at Pupstar0, at loop_WRLD1, his new business, and as well at link.tree/Pupstar_. Wow, what an intro, Cameron. Welcome to the Drum Club. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Excellent. Cameron, I think, to understand the drummer, I think we have to understand a little bit of context around the drummer. So would you mind just briefly sharing a little bit about your journey into music and what led you to mainly focus on drumming at Chetham School of Music and obviously later going on to university?
So at Chet's, I played the sax and the piano. It wasn't until after, so 2 weeks before my auditions to conservatoire, I quit the saxophone. Everyone freaked out. But it was because the way I was taught in classical music, it was so strange, especially when I think back on it. But for instance, I'd play a piece a way that sounded good to me. I'd go to my teacher would be like, "Oh no, it's all wrong. You got to do it this way." And I'd be like, "Oh, all right, I'll do it that way. I don't enjoy this way, but I'll do it because I'm being told to." And I wasn't really thinking for myself back then because I was just so used to being told what to do by teachers all the time. And I was trying to not get in trouble, which I did anyway.
I think we all have that rock and roll streak in us, right? So I think there'll be a few kind of people watching at home thinking, "Hey, I was no stranger to that as well." Just reflecting on that time at Chet's and obviously looking back and obviously achieving that incredible first-class honours degree. I mean, that is nothing to gloss over. So huge congratulations there. How do you think, I know you mentioned about it maybe hindering some of, your kind of explorative years and formative years trying to figure out, yourself and your music, because every piece you were bringing to them, they try to bring that kind of structure. What do you think you actually walked away with benefiting from, in terms of that approach, to your drumming and as a whole, your music and the way you look at theory as such?
So I did learn some good things. There were definitely things I took away that were good. I just largely speak about the negative because the negative is so overpowering. It can feel inescapable, which is just why I quit the instrument, because I was like, right, I don't sound the way I want to sound. I don't even know how I want to sound anymore. So F it, put it in the
when you went, when did you identify kind of drumming was the instrument for you? And obviously you've been playing now, post uni for some years, so this is really your calling. And obviously, from what other artists, and obviously I've already acknowledged the socials, this is really the instrument for you. So what was it that took your fancy, and how did you dive into drumming? Was it by changing up, or was it someone recommended it to you? How did it come
I think
about?
it was a little bit chance. So I did play the drums, like at the school. I would sit behind a drum kit and I'd go crazy and I'd do a bunch of stuff with terrible technique and so on. But it was just fun. I'd practice the saxophone. I'd learn all the crap I didn't want to learn because I just thought I had to. Then I'd go to the drums, and then it was whatever. It didn't have to be anything. But eventually from doing that, I kind of realized this is expressive. Maybe this is what I want to do. so I just moved, and I literally said I don't want to do the sax. Um, I'm not good enough at the piano because I learned the piano like very quick, and I played some very difficult pieces. I think I got to a diploma level piece or grade 8 in like a year and a half, but I couldn't like read music, and I only learned that piece from sheer will. I practiced 10 hours a day on the piano for like 3 months, and I learned things note by note and then remembered it all. And it was largely muscle memory, but it actually got to a point beyond muscle memory where I could just play it and it became expressive. So I did really love the piano. But yeah, the drums, there was more fluency there. It was much easier to pick things up. I think the piano is extremely complex and it's an amazing instrument. And sometimes I wish a little bit that I'd learned the piano and the drums with this exact mindset I have now. But when I was 16, 17, even up to like 20, 21, I didn't have the right mindset and my work ethic. It was good in chunks. Like I said, I practiced 10 to 11 hours a day. I did that for 3 months straight or more, I think it was. But it wasn't consistent. If it was consistent and I was thinking right, like I was trying to push myself in the direction of expressiveness, being able to put my thoughts on the instrument, I think it would have taken off a lot more, and I might be extremely good on 2 instruments, but I guess that didn't happen.
Hindsight's 2020. I wouldn't look back in in anything other
Yeah,
than
yeah,
just
yeah.
critiquing
I
it,
just
and at the end of the day, you've gotten incredible success from your discipline now, which is you know clearly the drums. I mean, talk to me about routine and setting that standard for yourself, and obviously setting the environment
routine.
up in the right way to level yourself up, because I think it's fair to say obviously we've been collaborating now for some time, but realistically the success we've seen has only come from the last 6 to 8 months in terms of the social media exposure. It's partly that,
Oh,
but
even
it's
less
also
than
your
that.
technique. I know, but your technique is just you've doubled down clearly. Is it more time, working at your craft? Is it quicker, smarter technique based learning? Is
Yeah, I
Talk
have a
me through this
phrase.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a phrase for myself. It's work smarter and harder. So I'll find the most effective way to practice, and then I'll do it for hours and hours. So I probably don't do as much right now, but like halfway through, like mid lockdown, basically, that's when my mindset really, really switched, and I started practicing drums 6 to 8 hours a day, and then I have it behind me. It's always behind me. The stock markets, crypto markets, because in my mind, right, I knew if I was going to get as good as I wanted, because I could visualize how good I wanted to get. I started listening to Animals as Leaders, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know you could play drums like that. I didn't even know patterns like this were possible. Um, because it was a completely different style. And that's kind of where I've began to pick up the number method that I use. So everything's either a 2, 3, or 4, and then you combine those to create literally anything.
Can you
That's
slow
where I,
that process? Can you just slow that
yeah.
down for maybe some of the artists who were at the starting point of their journey? Can you walk us a bit more through this process that you've devised? And obviously, that has really been, a big credit to your success, because this is something I want to get my teeth into with you during this podcast.
What so break down the number method a bit more.
Yeah, yeah. Just for obviously, you're walking past the lay drummer. Maybe a drummer who doesn't understand what you're referring to. Just obviously walk them through this, because I think this is going to be really helpful to a lot of artists at
So
home, and in terms of like figuring out new
here's,
time signatures and routes through.
yeah, so here's the thing with the number method. On paper, the actual concept is super, super easy. The hard part, or the bit that took a lot of time, um, was just assigning vocabulary to it, because with this method and the way I've learned, I've not thought about rudiments. I've not thought about specific stuff at all. I broke it down to almost an atomic level of what is rhythm made of. And if you listen to any music, any melody, and it can be sung, and you'll see that I do demonstrations where the voice series where I just play to someone's voice, their speech pattern, but I'm not just playing to it. I'm putting the numbers of their rhythm on the screen, and then to take it a step further and show like how good this method is, I'll do modulations. So I'll play along to someone's voice in like 4/4 and then modulate to like 17/16 or 23/16. Numbers that seem impossible to fit over 4/4, but they all work and they groove and it sounds good. And
seeing's believing, when you get
Yeah.
to see your content, Cameron, I honestly just was blown away by how versatile this system is, because literally you will be laying over like talk show TV, daytime hosts, like your favorite TV shows.
I've got
Like,
one
you
on the
just
post
grooving it out.
today.
Go on,
Yeah,
talk
so
to us
it
about
was.
that.
I heard because I'm not even joking. I've practiced this method so much that I can, when I hear a rhythm, like if I just hear, I can see numbers in my head now. I know the structure of it, and then I can see the space in between notes, and that's how I do the modulation. Like change the space in between notes, so the actual accents are in the same place, but the note rate's different. A good example would be 5/16 to 7/16. So 5 is 3 and a 2. 1 2 D 1 2 1 2 D 1 2. You can change that to feel like 7/16 by just putting more notes in the middle. So rather than a 3 and a 2, I'd add one number to each one. So I think of that as like a stepwise modulation, because you add an extra step to. Oh well. It's a feature of Apple. If I like do a thumbs up or something. Anyway,
it's so cool. Hey, that the future is here. No worries. No, I thought you'd built that into the podcast. I thought we hadn't even skipped
that. Anyway, so yeah, a stepwise modulation. I'll add one number to each part of the sequence. So 3 becomes 4, 2 becomes 3. So it goes like this. So this part, that doesn't change at all. It's the notes in between it. So I'm changing the space in between them. So and that there's no limit to that. I can change like whatever part. I can modulate one number and leave the other number the same. So I could technically play 3/3 and like do it as a 6 pattern. So and then like doing stuff like that, I realized that swing can also be assigned to numbers. Numbers are, I said it in a video, numbers are feel. Like you start to realize each number has its own personality almost. And people think of swing as like triplets or groups of 6, but really every single number has its own form of swing. And here's a really cool example. I hope if I play the drums, it doesn't blow the speakers up, but it's a very weird example. So, when people say like a lazy beat, oh, play a bit more lazy, play with lazy feel. Yeah, it's funny because most of the time when people do that, they just end up playing groups of 5. And this is 5's swing, if you will. So if we count 3 2, 1 2 D 1 2 1 2 D 1 2, and then play boots and cats on the ones. So 1 2 but I'm doing it over 1 2 D 1 2 1 2. See how it's got the lazy? Can you hear that all right?
It's clipping a little bit. So what I think would be good is maybe after today's podcast, let's do a little sample and let's slot it in. Yeah, I think that would work really well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that'll be huge. I think that'll be hugely impressive and helpful to everyone at home as well. And also, I think, Cameron, you're just creating this incredible vault of content, for the public domain and for obviously to benefit, everyone watching at home. So please take a look at Cameron's Pupstar Zero on Instagram. You've amassed such a following, and too right, may I add, because your work is absolutely quality. The way the editing, the processing, all the time and effort that goes into this. It's no wonder you're already at 18,400 followers and soon to be 20 and soon to take over the world. But what about the drummers? And we really are, and you are with Loop World, and I know we're going to get into that momentarily, but maybe for the drummers at home who are just on the starting point, or maybe on the way, they're on the ride and they're on the journey. Do you have any advice for them when it comes to handling, maybe motivation, staying motivated, continuing to challenge themselves? Like, where are you kind of listening? Where are you watching? Where are you reading? Who are you taking inspiration from? Who's keeping you on the tracks?
Yeah, so motivation's a really strange thing because I'm not always motivated. I think driven's maybe motivation and drive are like from the same family, like the opposite sides of a coin, maybe. So they're closely related, but they're still different. But I'll sit in here when I'm exhausted. I'll sit in here when I'm, pissed off. I've had a bad day. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think I have a bit of a weird brain because there's just something inside my head that's constantly saying I have to improve, I have to get better. I don't even know why I want to get so good sometimes, but I do. And it's a fact. It's like when you're hungry, you know, you don't decide to be hungry now. You just become hungry, and then slowly over time you're more hungry. All you can think about is food. Same if you're dehydrated. You can't escape that feeling. And it's become like that with this. Almost like I've hypnotized myself to some degree. Which I think I I did a little bit because I'll do stuff like I'll type in my notes and I'll read notes back. I think that's good because to do this, I won't say on the level I'm doing for the reason I'm doing it because I'm trying to do this for the sake of expression, for my own sake. Because like I said, I quit the saxophone because I was being told how to play, and that's not what I want to do. I can already hear the way I want a lot of things to sound. And it's just a matter of, can my hands keep up? Can I compute that yet? Because I think I did this last week. I was practicing like triple polyrhythms and stuff.
Right.
Because I don't just want to be able to learn it and then play it in an Instagram reel and be like, look, here's 7/5/4. I want to compute it.
Sure.
I want to be able to see where all the accents line up. I want to do this on the spot, improvised, without having to practice parts beforehand. Yeah, I just want to be able to do it. I want to hear it, and then boom, there it is. 7/5/4.
So it's almost like you've got the drive locked in, dialed in already, and this comes from this drive, this motivation is mainly drive, and the drive comes from hunger and this desire to. You're already in the space and the sphere of, I love my instrument, I love my craft. I'm so hungry to, learn these new techniques, polyrhythms, all these different signatures, all these different learning points. I am ready to consume this. It's just, you're already a way down the road from them. So I think, like you say, just kind of unpackaging what's just been mentioned. I think, note taking's huge. Sounds like that's a really big takeaway. So it seems like as well, what is a really big takeaway is finding what instrument suits you. Exploring, being open.
Yeah, don't let anyone else tell you what to play. Like if you hear something, you might pick like a really obscure instrument, or you might put one together yourself. Like street performers who play on buckets, they're usually pretty good, and they usually look like they're enjoying themselves. And I think it's because there's not exactly an abundance of bucket drum teachers out there. So this is stuff they will have just put together in the house. They will have done it for fun. And the fun aspect is really important because if you're having fun with something, you're gonna learn a lot faster as well. Because fun is like it's like a loop. You're having fun, you work harder, you get better, you're having more fun, and it keeps rolling. And then it's like a snowball, and it just keeps growing and growing. And then before you know it, you're an absolute animal.
And also on to new business ventures as well, as you are currently behind Loop World. I mean, talk to us about the concept behind Loop World. And again, for everyone who's interested to maybe see this, find out more, get behind you. Obviously, the Linktree link we'll post below, and also the Instagram is at loop_WRLD one Loop World one. And talk to us about how you came up with this concept for new drum loops and beats, and where did it all start, and where are we at with this project?
Yeah, so When I learned the number method, because it clicked very quick, and then I was able to do it pretty much. Because, like I said, the concept isn't hard, and it's going to be even easier for people now that I'm just telling them how it is. They're not doing all the guesswork that I did, because there was a whole lot of guesswork figuring this out. But yeah, once I learned the number method, you can apply it to 4/4, you can apply it to pop music, you can modulate literally anything. But if I want to play something, if I want to play a piece in 25/16, where do I go? Like there's no stuff like that. And if there is, let's say I practice some odd time stuff to an Animals as Leaders song, there's already drums over it. There's already a specific part. So anything I play from the heart, from the dome, improvised, it's just going to clash and it's going to sound jarring and garbage. So yeah, it started with metronomes. I'd program in different metronomes. So if I wanted to do 25/16, I'd program in 4/4, well, any sequence for 25/16. And then my metronome would be going like this. And then I'd just improvise over that. And I'd start feeling like ways I can apply numbers. I'd start practicing different concepts with numbers and then practice putting it on that. But it was just a metronome and it was robotic and a bit boring. Well, it was fun. It's still fun to do that, but it's not the most effective way. And remember my phrase, practice harder and smarter. And if you want to be a good musician, that, and I say it like that because it can mean anything. But for me, I want to sound good playing to music. I want to play to music and create effects and feels that no one's heard before. It's just something different because I definitely, especially after learning this method, I hear music very different now and experience it quite different. And, so yeah, the premise of Loop World, I started to write my own music just so I had something to practice to. I was writing whole songs just so I had something musical to play along to and a way to express drums in a way that's, bigger than just sat in a room playing patterns. Now it's become a whole story. There's a whole, musical aspect to this. And practicing complexity. I think it's really important that you have something musical to ground you in some way, although that sounds like the most restricting thing ever, but it's really not. When you play along to music, your ideas develop in a very particular way, because now I'm not just thinking of numbers have become melody, because I'm following the notes of a melody in a piece of music. And obviously melody is not this stagnant thing. It flows, it's dynamic, and me practicing all these complex stuff, I'm doing it while I'm flowing and being dynamic. So it begins to not sound like a technical exercise, because I don't want it to be like that. For me, I don't want it to be like that, because there are a lot of drummers on Instagram who have got like devastatingly good coordination. They'll be like, play all these crazy polyrhythms, but not to talk crap about anyone, but it sounds boring. Like most,
you pull it out of that
videos,
clinical setting, and it doesn't.
Yeah, where's the groove? Where's the feel?
Yes. I see where you're going with that. Yeah,
these numbers, like it's a big misconception, because people are like, oh yeah, odd time music, it's just made for musicians, blah blah blah. Let's go back to that 5 example. If odd time is only for the advanced musicians, why is it that this drunk feel is, it's become so popular?
Yeah.
Because numbers are feel, and different feels make music unique. And anytime like you hear people start doing this, you're bobbing your head to odd time music. It doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to feel, like a technical exercise. So anyway, reeling it back into Loop World, now I've found music producers who are like-minded, and they understand what I'm trying to do with this. And the whole point of it is to be able to give musicians, it's like a practice tool. it's a really fun practice tool, I think, because now you've got music where you can practice these insane, cool concepts and really complex ideas. But now you're doing it in the context of music and you're developing these ideas musically. So it takes you away from just sounding like a robot who can play something impressive. It's not just impressive now, it's musical. And that's my kind of goal with it. Because these patterns, oh man, there's just so much you can do with it.
I see them here.
You
put together several different loops and packs, and it's fantastic. And I know you've worked incredibly hard on this project, so congratulations in this new venture. I mean,
and the music
it's off to a huge start.
JC, shout out JC.
Please.
Yeah.
JC. I mean, you've worked with JC on 3 packs. I mean, someone who's clearly a producer that you obviously jive well with and, collaborate well with, and obviously clearly understands the mission and the vision of what you are putting together.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Jordan's a drummer and Jordan loves complex odd time stuff, the same as me.
Well, I tell you what, then they'll be the packs I recommend everyone to have a look at and take full advantage of, because a drummer, producer, and yourself as performer, I think, and putting together the 2 minds come together, I think it's a match made in heaven. I know you're working on launching a new Metro Loops pack. Did you want to briefly touch on that? It's out now. Yeah. Fantastic. Congratulations on that as well.
Metro is like musical metronomes, basically, because you're practicing timing but to music. So Metro Loops is a cool name. Metro Loop pack is specifically made for people getting into the number method as well, because I'm basically sharing the number method for free.
Yeah.
Any videos on my page, it's in my highlights as well, titled Loop Lesson. I explain the numbers. I explain, roughly how to piece them together. Obviously, as people start to click with it, you'll come up with your own vocabulary. Although I will do more lessons similar to Godlike Speed that are more focused on the counting, because that lesson does involve counting. And it basically, in Godlike Speed, it goes over my, I guess my routine. Like if I come up with a new concept, I basically explain how to apply it to the number method, so you can play it in any time signature and chain together like ridiculous combos. Because
really good resources. I mean, honestly, I think just getting involved in kind of this aspect of drumming has just developed you exponentially. And I think any drummer that touches or is, involved within what you were working on, truly, Cameron, is going to obviously feel that development as well. So yeah, I mean, huge congratulations. We're behind everything you're doing. And I know as part of that, it stems from obviously our collaboration, here at Collision. So just touching on that in the final few minutes, I mean, you've been an endorsee for some time with us now. I mean, how is partnering with Collision Drumsticks, if you don't mind me asking, impacted your drumming journey as well? And, what was it about, the sticks that really stood out to you to say, hey, if I'm going to touch base and ground myself with any brand, using your word, what was it about those sticks that really set your, yourself forward and obviously set that decision making, that a little bit better for you?
So, yeah, I tried a couple of different sticks. There was one I bought on Amazon. It was really cheap. I don't remember the name. They were garbage. They were really garbage. Like after 15 minutes, the tip would just shear off, and it would become like a chopstick at the end. Useless. I then moved to Vic Firth. I don't want to start beef with the drumstick companies, but I don't like Vic Firth. I didn't understand the hype because I bought them and everyone was, oh yeah, Vic Firth. Ooh. But I used it and I was like, what? I didn't get what was so great about them. Anyway, so that didn't last too long. I did try a couple of different ones, but not for me. Sorry, Vic Firth.
And you found your heart with Collision. I mean, what was it? What is it?
Yeah, and then there was ProMark, and I used ProMark for a while. Yeah, and ProMark, I really liked ProMark. I was like, oh yeah, these are the best. And then anyway, I ended up trying Collision, and I was like, these are so much better. The feel of these, the weight balance, the fact that they're slightly longer as well. Because I'm quite tall, I've got big hands, so maybe that's just my preference. But these really suit me, and they suit the different techniques I'm using as well. Because I do use some, I guess you class them as unconventional techniques. like a push pull. How can I do a quick example of this? I'll do it on my mouse mat. So push pull, pushing with my thumb and then pulling with my fingers. Just a cool way to add different phrasings and stuff. I use it for my ghost notes because a double push with my thumb, pull with my fingers. It's like the most mechanically efficient way to play doubles, at least that I've found so far. Maybe someone else is like, oh no,
Well, it's,
I've got a way
no, I don't think that'll happen. And I think, fatigue is so big in our space. You play for a long time, you perform a long time. You need to have incredible technique, and you have impeccable technique. So I'm just thrilled that we are able to provide a stick that suits your needs and meets you where you're at, Cameron. I know you're a really exciting up and coming and already acclaimed artist, but to have you back in the brand is incredible. So we're thrilled to obviously be partnering and partnered with you for some time now. And
these are genuinely good.
Yeah, we're working on some things behind the scenes, and we won't say much now, but there's some exciting collaboration opportunities and projects that we are kind of having a lot of fun with at the minute. So yeah, watch out for the not so distant future there. Some closing thoughts, Cameron, just before we go. And Pupstar, you've been incredible as always. When it comes to a tradition we have here at Collision, with the podcast here at the Drum Club as well, it really comes down to our slogan is impact your sound. Okay, you're no stranger to that. But what does impact your sound mean to you personally?
I guess it goes back to originality. And originality is much easier than people realize. If you're actively trying to sound, let me think how to phrase this best. It's easy to get too caught up into how you should sound. If you're comparing yourself to other people, that's good to some degree. It's good to see what's possible, because there are drummers that can do certain things a lot better than all of us. Like there are drummers much faster than me. I can look at them and be like, okay, what technique are they using? I can take that and apply it to myself. But everything I do is for me. I want my drums to sound the way I want them to sound. And I try not to get it too tangled up with other things, because that's real musicality, I think. It doesn't have any rules. And, there's so many ways to approach this instrument and play it that, as long as you're doing things based on what, makes those lights in your brain go off and go, this feels good. I think that's a really good way to approach the instrument. And then obviously, as you do that, you'll develop, you want to develop your fluency to get those different ideas in your head to come out on the kit. Yeah, impact your sound. I guess that's what I think, staying original,
Fantastic.
working on you as an individual, your sound.
I think that covers it, guys. Thank you so much today, Pupstar. It's been a pleasure. It's been so good to hear your story, more so about, again, some of the exciting up and coming opportunities you've got with Loop World as well. And again, as always, sharing with the amazing community of drummers here at the Drum Club. Guys, don't forget, follow Pupstar at Pupstar0 on Instagram, at Loop_WRLD1 as well for Loop World. And thank you to you guys at home. Please subscribe, like, comment your favorite things about today's conversation, and be sure to check out all of the other recent incredible conversations that we've had here with outstanding drummers as well. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. See you next time.